Ladies and gentlemen, we are just a few weeks away from the start of Halloween Horror Nights 2024. And in today's video, we are heading on inside the park and giving you guys the ultimate guide to this year's event. We're gonna be covering absolutely everything you need to know before you make your way here for the start of Halloween Horror Nights. Let's not waste any time, guys. Let's head on inside. Now, before we even head on inside the park, I want to stress right off the bat, please, 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 get your tickets ahead of time. And if they need to be printed, make sure you print them ahead of time. You don't want to come here on your first night or possibly only night and have to wait in the really long queues at will call to pick up your tickets or to even buy your tickets. Do that ahead of time. If for whatever reason you guys have absolutely no choice, to the right of the arches, you have the group sales and guest services sign. You're going to come over here and you have guest services right here and the will call kiosks right over there. Another thing you could do is make sure that you download the Universal Studios app and download your tickets onto the app, so that way you can just click over here and it'll populate a QR code for you to scan at the entrance. All right, we just walked inside Universal Studios and let's go ahead and get this breakdown started. As soon as you walk in, you are going to be faced with your first scare zone, which is called Duality of Fear. As soon as you enter the gates of Halloween Horror Nights, you must choose a path. Follow Sinister, the manifestation of visceral horror, or follow Surreal, the incarnation of unearthly terror. So in our quest to cover everything that you guys need to know about Halloween Horror Nights, we're going to be making our way clockwise around the park. So the front entrance is right over here, and we are making our way through Minions Land. I want to point out this location over here because this is the supposed location of the first haunted house that you're going to run into at Halloween Horror Nights, which is supposed to be Monstros, the monsters of Latin America. Now, when it comes to this haunted house location, I want you guys to bear in mind that we have not received official confirmation that this is exactly where it's going to be. However, in years past, we have had a house portal right here, and we do believe it's going to lead to Monstros. Okay, so we made our way a little bit further into the park, deeper into Minions Land, and we are here in front of the main plaza stage. This is where we are likely going to see another haunted house portal for Halloween Horror Nights, and this one is likely going to be the location of A Quiet Place. Now, during Halloween Horror Nights, it is very common to see this entire area set up with stanchions and queues going back and forth. It's just going to be metal barricades everywhere. This haunted house is going to be extremely popular for this year's event, so make sure you guys plan your visit accordingly. Now, something else I want to talk about that practically no one else really touches on is this location over here. Now, this isn't going to be a location for any haunted house, but this is going to be the exit for all 4 haunted houses located over here at the front of the park. So whether you're going to Monstros, A Quiet Place, or the next 3 haunted houses that I'm going to list here, you are all going to be exiting right here next to the Jimmy Fallon restrooms. So needless to say, this area can get very crowded very quickly. So if you're not too fond of crowds, I would avoid this area as much as possible, of course. And Coda brings up a very good point. If you need to go to the restroom, I would highly suggest picking some different restrooms. The nearest restrooms that we have are going to be right around the corner over here from Bake My Day, right next door to Mel's, and we also have another pair of restrooms on the opposite side of Revenge of the Mummy. The next location I want to bring up is right here next to Minions Cafe. We can see the illumination sign over here. This is the show building for Transformers The Ride, and I want to point out this little area right here. This location in the extended queue for Transformers The Ride is going to be the location of one of the larger bars here at Halloween Horror Nights, where you can get a bunch of your specialty alcoholic beverages. This place gets really popular. It does get quite a bit of a line, so make sure you're prepared to wait, but this is one of many locations where you can pick up your Blinky cups and a specialty drink. Now, right behind me is the bar that I just spoke to you about, and on the opposite side is something else important that I want to talk to you guys about. And it's the food booths over here at Halloween Horror Nights. Every year for Halloween Horror Nights, we have specialty food booths themed around different properties that you can find at each event. This one you can see behind me is called Twilight Tavern. And again, we don't really know what specific IP, if any, this is themed around. It could be themed around one of the original property haunted houses, but we do know that they are going to be serving some specialty food out of this booth and this booth right here, which says Twisted Taters. Now, just for the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to be pointing out every single specialty food booth, but just make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled throughout the park for these specialty themed booths. You really can't miss them. They are very well themed, and they are likely to serve some very cool and unique food. So definitely make sure you take the time to check them out. Okay, I know it's dark outside, a little bit of a time jump, but we walked by this area and I completely forgot to mention what haunted houses were going to be over here. So right behind me, we have the entrance to Race to New York starring Jimmy Fallon. Over here, we are likely to have the entrance to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Behind me over here, as we make our way back to the New York Public Library, we're going to have two haunted house entrances. One of them is going to be for Insidious, and the other one is going to be for Triplets of Terror. Again, we haven't gotten exact confirmation yet on if these are the exact houses that are going to be here, but we do know that two haunted house portals are going to be located right here. So bear that in mind. Okay, let's go back to the past. And as we move into the New York section of the park, we have our next scare zone, which is called Torture Fair. Come one, come all to the Renaissance Fair with the devious theme of medieval torture. Brave the gloriously gory homemade torture devices till you're put out of your misery. Now, something super important to note about this scare zone is that it is going to be the largest scare zone of the entire event. It stretches all the way from the start of where Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon is, all the way down to the back by Louis Restaurants. So this whole area is not a safe zone if you're looking to not really get scared. So just be aware of that. Scare actors are going to be located all throughout this street. And honestly, this area is typically one of my favorite areas to hang out in for Horror Nights because the scare actor interactions that you can get here, they have so much room to work with. They can get very creative and it's a whole lot of fun. Okay, we have made it to the Universal Studios Lagoon and we're gonna be hanging a left. And our next stop is gonna be right outside of Fast and Furious Supercharged. And just to the left of the entrance to Fast and Furious Supercharged, we are going to have another house portal. This is speculated to be for Major Sweets Candy Factory. You've been invited to chaperone a field trip to a candy factory. The deadly delicious treats turn the kids into sugar-fueled fiends. Okay, sadly, I need to jump in here for just a second to add a little revision because since filming this, we actually got almost all of our house portal locations for this year's event. And for the Major Sweets Haunted House, it appears the entrance will actually be right in front of Fast and Furious Supercharged. The attraction will be closed through all of the Halloween Horror Nights season, so I believe the queue for the haunted house will use almost all of the supercharged space. I wasn't too off, but I also wanted to make sure you guys got the right information. Now, I just want to say, I have no insider knowledge of this haunted house if it is going to be Major Sweets. However, based off of what we can see from the guest area, we're 99% sure it's Major Sweets. But anyways, I have a feeling that this haunted house is going to be the sleeper hit of the year. Typically, the houses that are put in this location haven't been the best, but I have a sneaky suspicion that this year is going to be different, and I cannot wait to experience it for myself. And ladies and gentlemen, as we enter the San Francisco section of the park, we have our next scare zone, which is called Enter the Blumhouse. Run a terrifying gauntlet of Blumhouse characters from the Grabber to Megan dancing into your nightmares. This is a new kind of horror. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by any means, but the rumor is that the Major Sweets Candy Factory haunted house is going to exit over here, right at the exit to Fast and Furious Supercharged. So when you guys get off the ride, you're going to be exiting over here. We have a feeling that these doors are going to open up to reveal the exit to the haunted house, and you're going to exit right into the Blumhouse scare zone. Now, something really important to know about this scare zone in particular is that historically, the scare zone that is in this area can get very crowded, and it can be like shoulder to shoulder people in here sometimes, depending on the time of evening. So just make sure you're aware of that and make sure you plan accordingly. Make sure you hug the wall if you want to avoid the most people, and try to avoid walking directly through the center, and you should be totally fine. Moving on a little bit further into the park, right across from King's Cross Station next to Lombard's, we actually have another big bar that is going to be set up over here for Halloween Horror Nights. Now, last year this was called the Peacock Bar. We don't exactly know if it's going to carry the same theme as last year. However, we are expecting it to. This is going to be another one of those major locations to get your alcohol fix at the event. This is where you can pick up your blinky cups and specialty beverages. Moving a little bit further into the park, we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, in years past, this was considered a safe zone from Halloween Horror Nights, where you could experience Escape from Gringotts, where you could go in, chill out, escape the haunts, and grab a butterbeer if you want. However, starting last year, we actually had Death Eaters invade Diagon Alley, so technically there were scare actors roaming around. Now, they're not in there 24/7, it is important to note, but it is a thing that happened last year, and it is expected to continue on this year. So just be aware of that. If you're a little bit of a scaredy cat and you're looking to seek refuge inside the Wizarding World, you might not get it there. So just make sure you're on your guard in there. Okay, so we finally finally made our way to the very back of the park, and we are here right outside of the former Fear Factor Theater. This is going to be the location of your one and only show for Halloween Horror Nights, which is going to be Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus. Right off the bat, this show, not appropriate for kids. The performers of this show are dressed very provocatively. A lot of the dancing that is performed in the show is very provocative and sexual in nature. There is a lot of pyrotechnics, there is a lot of illusions and magic that is done in this show, so it is definitely worth a watch, but definitely, you know, parents be advised when bringing your kids to watch this show. All in all, it's a great show and definitely worth your time during Halloween Horror Nights. So right next door to the Fear Factor Theater, where they are going to be performing Nightmare Fuel, we have the entrance to supposedly 2 haunted houses this year. This is supposedly going to be the entrance for both Goblin Feast and Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Now, this hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but rumors are pointing to 2 haunted house entrances being here at this location. We have never had that happen before, to my knowledge. You guys can correct me down in the comment section below, but I will be sure to let you guys know on opening night once we get concrete evidence and knowledge that we are going to have 2 entrances here. But it is worth noting that if you are entering a haunted house from this location, prepare to walk, because not only are you entering from over here, but you have to walk all the way around the outside of the Men in Black show building all the way to the back of the backstage area. So just be prepared. It is going to be a walk. Make sure you have proper walking shoes for Halloween Horror Nights. So moving on down a little bit further into the park beyond Men in Black Alien Attack, you can see we have the restrooms back here. Off in this corner, we are rumored to have 2 more haunted house portals. Over here, we are likely going to have Slaughter Cinema 2 and the Museum Deadly Exhibit. 2 more haunted houses that are going to be located all the way in the back over here. These 2 haunted houses likely aren't going to involve as much walking as the other 2, but it is still worth noting that there is going to be still a little bit of a walk. Just bear that in mind.
Okay, I unfortunately have to jump in again to correct something. So I was only half wrong. We are getting a house portal here, but it's only for 1 house. I suspect this will be for Slaughter Cinema, as this portal location has been used in the past for the Sprung tent on the left closest to Men in Black. The second Sprung tent house portal is actually in a location we have never seen before, and it is next to the Simpsons ride in between the show building and the Quickie Mart merchandise location. This portal, I believe, will be for the Museum Deadly Exhibit.
So we have made it inside Simpsons Land, right outside of the Simpsons ride, and I want to point out this area over here. Now, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but it is rumored that this right here is going to be the exit to all the haunted houses that are going to be back here. That includes the 2 brand new haunted house locations and the 2 sprung tents that you can see right here. So the 4 haunted houses, rather than having to get out and walk all the way back to where DreamWorks is, we are rumored to have the exit right here. That is the best case scenario. It would save our feet a lot of walking. Again, hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but it is the rumored exit location. I will make sure to let you guys know as soon as we find out anything more. So now that we're walking through Simpsons Land, I want to point out that they don't typically use this area as a dedicated scare zone. However, sometimes they do have a random chainsaw horde that walks through here. But the most important thing that I want to point out is this area over here. This is a very popular dining location for Halloween Horror Nights. It is not uncommon to see this area very full of people who are getting food. There are different dining locations inside this building over here with a lot of different options. So if you or someone in your party are a picky eater, you can hop on inside over there and find something that you'll want to eat. Something else I want to point out, just on the opposite side of Springfield, you can see this area next to the lagoon over here. If you guys are looking to escape the crowds and to go someplace a little quiet, this is the place to do it. 9 times out of 10, there's not going to be a lot of people here. You can get away from the crowds. It's a little bit more quiet over here and just take a breather. So ladies and gentlemen, we have made our way to DreamWorks Land. Now you guys are probably asking me, Adrian, why are you in DreamWorks Land? Well, I want to point something out to you guys. If you guys have been here in years past, you guys are probably used to seeing a couple of haunted house entrances in this area. That has changed for this year. There are not supposedly going to be any haunted house portals in DreamWorks Land. So there's going to be no foot traffic supposedly through this land during Halloween Horror Nights, so just bear that in mind. You're not gonna find anything over here in this location. That's why I'm here. Okay, I know it's a little dark, but we're about to head on into our next scare zone over here in Central Park called Swamp of the Undead. In Backwaters, Louisiana, you unwittingly wander into private property where you're swamped by zombies born from the bodies of the trespassers who were killed and dumped in a nearby bog. Another thing worth noting about this zone in particular is that this is yet another zone where it can get very claustrophobic very fast. It is a very narrow walkway, especially with all the new props that are out, and with the scare actors, it's gonna get very crazy in here very quickly, so just be aware of that. If you are looking to avoid crowds, I would highly avoid walking around this scare zone closer to the lagoon. That pathway will be open.
The last area of the park I want to mention is over here in the Hollywood section of Universal Studios, where we are going to find our final scare zone for the event, which is called Demon Queens. Get caught in an otherworldly hellscape ripped from the darkest corners of your mind, where 4 merciless queens loyal to surreal rule.
Okay, another pro tip for Halloween Horror Nights, especially if it's your first time coming. You have to get the pizza fries. They are a Halloween Horror Nights staple. Everyone loves them. I love them. Kodo loves them. You cannot go wrong with pizza fries. A lot of people actually make them at home too. We haven't done that, but we should.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you now know everything you need to know about this year's Halloween Horror Nights event. I sincerely hope that this video helps you all out if you are planning on coming down for this year's event, as I know from experience it can get very overwhelming very quickly if you come unprepared. If this video helped you out in any way, then please help out the channel by leaving a like rating on the video, as it's the best way to let YouTube know to show this video and my channel to more people out there. We are going to be spending the entirety of opening weekend at Universal Studios, so if you're excited for all the upcoming Halloween Horror Nights content coming your way, and you don't want to miss out on any of it, then please consider subscribing to the channel. If you guys want to plan a visit to Universal Studios in the near future, then let my friends over at MC Travel Company help make that happen for absolutely free. I'll leave a link to them down in the description below. I hope you are all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.